بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، ذلك ومن يعظم شعائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب. Whoever honors the symbols of Allah, that leads to the piety of the hearts. So adab, veneration, is very important in deen. Umar radiallahu anhu said, ta'addabu thumma ta'allamu. First learn adab etiquettes, then you can learn. So even when it comes to tarbiyah of children, rules, regulations, adab and etiquettes are very important. Zuhri used to say, كنا نأتي العالم فما نتعلم من أدبه أحب إلينا من علمه. We used to go to the elders, to the mashayikh, to the ulama, and we should seek knowledge and benefit from them. But more than the knowledge that we learned was the adab and the etiquette and the adab that we learned. So the proverb goes, al-adab junnatun linnas. This etiquette, courteous behavior, is a shield for people. La miratha kal adab. There is no inheritance, there is no heritage like adab. So we have to understand the value of knowing these places. When these places value has entered the hearts, then we can become valuable. Nabi alayhi Islam said, Addabani Rabbi fa ahsana ta'adibi. My Rabb has taught me adab, manners, etiquette, and best manners, the best manners, most exemplary manners. So ad-din al-adab kulluhu is a synopsis, it's an indication of what is matlub of deen. When Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam had passed away, then Hazrat Abu Bakr went on the pulpit. So Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam used to sit on the highest step and give the khutbah. So Abu Bakr radiallahu went to one step lower, and his feet was on a lower step. Again, my Nabi sat in this position here, just adab and respect. It was inherent, it was by nature, default. So as Iman gets stronger, person's adab and respect, veneration increases. Umar radiallahu anh, when he became Khalif, he used to go to a lower step and his foot was on the ground. So again, from the Khulafa Rashidin to the adab of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, it's a very important thing. A person is going to these Mubarak places, Makkatul Mukarrama, Madinatul Munawwara, know the value. So ulama have written, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to see a fraction of his tajalli. Andur ilayk. So Musa alayhi salam was told that you don't have the capacity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, falamma tajalla, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala released a fragment of his tajalli, kharra Musa sa'iqa. Musa alayhi salatu wassalam fell unconscious. Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam, fakana qaba qawsayni aw adna. When he went for Mi'raj, then he was close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He spoke directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and had the istidad to handle the tajalli of Allah at that close range. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was on earth and a fraction. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was in the heavens and close by, and the tajalli. So what ruhaniyat did Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam have? Allah had given him to have this capacity to handle that meeting and mulaqat with Rabbul Alameen. So ulama say Allah had hidden this tajalli, this anwarat which Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam possessed. Otherwise it was not possible for anybody to be in his company. Allah had made a parda. So this is this Nabi. So if we really had value, then from now, how much durood am I reading every day? Let's fix an amount, what pabandi and istiqamat, how much durood I'm going to read, how much sunnats am I going to practice in my life, and we start inculcating sunnats. I'm going to the Baytullah, I need to be pure, so I need to start making istighfar. So how much thousands of istighfar am I making daily? How much have I abandoned sin? I'm leaving for the Baytullah, so I need to leave sin now. I'm going to the Baytullah and I'm leaving. I need to leave sin as well. Check our obedience and itaat. So a person goes for Hajj classes, mashallah, they learn the masail, which is very important. They start learning the adiyah as well, very important. But with that, coupled with that, we need to change our perspective and outlook in life. And it starts now. What are my ambitions? Those Mubarak places which housed Anbiya, which housed Sahaba, we read the Tariq of Sahaba and what sacrifices they made. Those sifat needs to start coming in our lives. So the different organizations have accepted somebody. So he says, yeah, okay, I'm accepted for Hajj. You accepted on earth, but are you accepted in the heavens? Your name has come on the list, but are you maqbool inda Allah? What do I need to do so I'm maqbool inda Allah? Aisha radiallahu anha, when she used to hear somebody driving a nail in his house close to Masjid al-Nabawi, she should send a message. Do not hurt the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do not cause taklif to the Nabi of Allah. So a sound, imagine they were so particular that a sound in Madinatul Munawwara should not cause taklif to my Nabi. All our amals, reports are going to the Nabi of Allah. How much taklif, inconvenience are we causing the Nabi of Allah? The guna that I am committing. Besides the karguzari, the amal we do goes to the heavens, and azab and calamities are decided based on the amal of insan. So how particular they were and how particular we. Earth and heavens difference. Imam Malik, who made his mazhab on the ta'amul ahl Medina, whenever he used to relieve himself, he used to go on the outer limit of the haram. He used to go on the outer limit, and he said it's disrespectful that a person can relieve themselves in the precincts of Madinatul Munawwara. When he used to walk next to the walls instead of walking in the middle of the alleys in Madinatul Munawwara. Somebody asked him why. He said it is possible that these are the alleys which the feet of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam fell. I cannot allow my footprint to come under his footprint. It is be'adbi, it is disrespectful. Imam Shafi asked Imam Malik that you possess very fine horses. Why don't you ride them in Madinatul Munawwara? He said it is not befitting and appropriate to spoil the places touched by the Mubarak feet of my Nabi with the hooves of horses. So he never rode a horse in Medina, in the precincts of Madinatul Munawwara. Once he had a conversation with somebody and he said, no, the soil is bad, the soil is not good. So when Imam Malik heard this, he decreed, he made a fatwa that a person should be flogged 30 lashes and imprisoned. Somebody said, why such a severe punishment? He said, this is light He should be killed, he should be beheaded. To say that the soil of the Mubarak land of the Nabi, where your Nabi is resting, is bad, is unpardonable. It's a juram azim, it's a great crime. Like how one poet has said, under the sky there is another place of reverence, as arsh nazuktar, more delicate than the throne of Allah. The personalities of Junaid and Bayazid presented themselves here with their breaths restrained, as if even to breathe at this Mubarak place is be'adbi, as if even to breathe is be'adbi. When a person knows where they're going to, where they're going to, their walking will be different, their talking will be different, their every action will be different. Going in front of the Baytullah, this is the markas of Anwarat Tajalliyat, and it demands وَمَن يُرِيد فِيهِ بِإِلْحَادٍ بِظُلْمٍ, whoever inclines to evil actions here, to do wrong, we shall cause for them نُذِقْهُ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ, a painful torment. Ibn Kathir describing the word ilhad, it's referring to a major sin. So for a person to commit a guna in front of the Baytullah, normally sin shouldn't be committed, but there even more grave. Why? It is be'adbi, it is disrespectful. Abdullah ibn Umar used to pitch 2 tents whenever he went for Hajj. One was inside the haram, the precincts of Makkah, and the other one is outside. So whenever he needed to admonish someone of his family, his khadims, etc., he used to do it outside the haram, where that tent was pitched. So if somebody asked him, Hazrat, why 2 tents? He said, a person who is in a state of anger cannot utter words, Kalla wallah, bala wallah, because it is be'adbi. So if I need to take somebody to task, I can't even imagine a person who is in the precincts of the haram, is watching their words, watching. I can't take anybody to task in these Mubarak places. And that will be like a guna, a sin. So the pious predecessors, subhanallah, were so particular about these adab and etiquettes that where have we gone? So adab is part of deen. The king of India once sent a few gifts to Khalifa Mansur. So there was a physician who accompanied the delegation from India. So the physician addressed Mansur and said, "Oh Amirul Mu'mineen, I present to you 3 medicines. These medicines are only special for kings, and it has a lot of value. Only really kings can afford it." So he said, "What are these medicines?" So the physician said, "I will apply such a dye on your beard which will never lose color. And the second one," he said, "I will give you a medicine which will enable you to eat a lot and you wouldn't have indigestion. And the third," Khalifa asked, he said, "I will give you such strength in your back that you will be able to copulate with your spouse as much as you desire. You will not feel tired or weak." So he paused for a while, he thought, he bent his head, then he raised his head. He said, "I thought so, you are a physician, a wise person, but it's not so. I don't need my hair to remain black. Old age has dignity and awe. And I don't want to exchange the noor, this is divine radiance of Allah in my face, with darkness. And as for eating, overeating results in lethargy and negligence. As for with regards to women, lust is a branch of insanity. To resort to it beyond a certain limit is bad, it is harmful. Return to wherever you come. I don't need your medicines. I don't need your medicines. So sometimes we presume something is good for us, but it's not good for us. If we had the vision of Akhirat, etc., then a person would have behaved differently. So adab is very important in deen. As Mufi Shafi Sahab, Rahmatullah alayhi, was a guest of Hazrat Maulana Sayyid Asghar Hussain, Rahmatullah alayhi. So after they had a meal, Mufti Sahab wanted to roll the Dastarkhan. Maulana Asghar said, what do you want to do with it? He said, well, just dust off the Dastarkhan. So normally you take the Dastarkhan, you roll it, and then you dust it off. So he said, do you know the adab of dusting off the Dastarkhan? Do you know the adab of dusting off the Dastarkhan? So Mufti Sahab again was surprised. He said, please tell me, how do you dust it, Hazrat? So Maulana said, this is an art, there's adab, there's etiquettes. Then he showed Hazrat Mufti Sahab. He separated the bare bones, means those bones that were completely clean, with some bones, we had some pieces, some fragments, etc., which can be eaten. Then pieces of bread were separated, and then the small particles were separated. The bones which were just bony alone, they were fed to the dogs. Bones which had little bit fragments on it, etc., they were placed where cats would eat. Then the pieces of bread were placed on areas where birds would come. And the small particles of food were placed next to the hole of ants. Then Hazrat said, this food belongs to Almighty Allah, no part of it should be wasted. No part of it should be wasted. So, Deen al-adab kulluhu, there's adab in everything. If in just the remnants of the leftovers of food there's so much adab, then in the primary places with primary worship, how much more adab and etiquettes. And this we need to go to ulama haqq, ulama rabbaniyin, learn the different adab, learn the different etiquettes. One scholar, alim, visited Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madani, and he was offered fruits. So after eating the fruits, alim said, does it permit me to throw the peels away, to dispose of it? So Hazrat Madani asked, do you know how to throw peels? He said, no, just to dispose of it. He said, no. They are poor people in the neighborhood, they are neighbors. If they are thrown at a place where these people who don't have the luxury of these fruits will see them, they will desire them. If you dispose of it where nobody will see it at all, nobody will get a chance to witness it. I don't want to give them the inconvenience. I don't want to give them the inconvenience of seeing the peel of the fruit and then desiring it. Said about one scholar from South Africa as well, that he preferred never having a barbecue in his house. So people asked him why. He said, my neighbors will smell the fragrance of the meat and they will desire it, and since they cannot have it, I desire not to have it. So we need to go learn these adab and etiquettes. So in these Mubarak places, there shouldn't be any abuse, there shouldn't be any lustful glances. These are all adab. To enter the haram with eating onions, garlic, anything with a foul smell, tobacco, etc. The adab of the clothing. If a person enters the haram as well, then not to be looking around this way, that way. Even harming anybody. So people just push, shove, they're not worried, etc. To in the hotels also, in the bathrooms, we have to make sure, very particular, that they're not facing the Baytullah. So people eat pan, etc. They spit even on the basins. When we're making wudu, we spit in. We shouldn't be spitting straightwards, but you should spit sidewards out of adab and adab and respect for the Baytullah. When a person's wearing socks for some reason, put your feet at a slant. When a person goes to sleep, make sure your bed, which direction it is facing. When a person is making tawaf, not to look at the Baytullah. It's the adab of tawaf, the adab of tawaf. Likewise, to be in a haram without wudu. If a person is in a haram, meeting people, discussing dunya, we bought this here, we did shopping here, against adab. I need forex. A person to raise his voice. So there's a lot of adab for the haram. We need to keep these adab, these etiquettes in mind. And that's when we go to the ulama rabbaneen, spend time in sohbat and company of the pious to learn these adab. Simple things. Just to give you an example, there was a person who was staying in the US and he was going to return back home to Pakistan. So he said, let me surprise my family. So he got leave, he bought the air ticket, and he bought very expensive gifts to take home. So as he landed, he had all his fancy bags, fancy gifts. Obviously, the bags are noticeable, the luggage tags. So the taxi driver noticed this. So he said, this is an opportunity. So as he was driving, he took a detour and he made a few calls. And this person was ambushed and he was killed. And he buried the body and the person's belongings were taken. So back in the US, he didn't come back for work, so they contacted the family. And then after investigation, they realized that actually he did come to Pakistan. But unfortunately, there was nothing that could be done. So adab and etiquettes, to have notified the family, to let somebody know when traveling, what are the adabs, what are the etiquettes. So these are all important usuls for us to be particular about. May Allah give us tawfiq. The benefit of staying in Medina Sharif, al-Madinatu khayrul lahum law kanu ya'lamun, that Madinatul Munawwara is better for them if only they knew. لا يدعها عاد رغبة عنها إلا أبدل الله فيها من هو خير منه. No one leaves Madinatul Munawwara after being disinclined from it, wherein Allah replaces therein one who is better than him. So it never ever should become a burden. A person's looking forward to leaving these places. So when we have love for these places, we'll want to die there. And Allah make us maaf, when we got love for dunya, we'd want to die in the places of dunya. وَلَا يَثْبُتُ أَحَدٌ عَلَىٰ, anybody that's there and he remains steadfast despite the hardships and difficulties, then what's the benefit? إِلَّا كُنْتُ لَهُ شَفِيئًا أَوْ شَهِيدًا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, that I will intercede on their behalf, I will bear testimony in their favor on the day of Qiyamah. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.